What's up, YouTube? Timmy's here. Now, here is my Throwback segment where I talk about the films that turned 10, 20, 30, and 40 this week. Alright, the film celebrating their 10th anniversary is The Hunger Games Mockingjay-part 1, which is, of course, just like with Harry Potter and Twilight. They decided to, pretty much break down the final half into, two parts. And so, of course, they did that again with the final Hunger Games films. And the furniture was pretty decent. A little better than the recent Battle of Stormbright Snake that we just had. I mean, we guys don't know much about this one. This time around, you have Katniss Everdeen, who is joined by Elma Cohen, who is played by Julianne Moore, the renegade leader of the underground District 13 in a mass rebellion against the Capitol. Now, sadly, this and the final Hunger Games were actually Phil Seymour Hoffman's final films before he passed away. And he was pretty solid in these movies too. Woody Harrelson, of course, was great. It was a really decent, a really decent one, a really decent you know, uh, finale, if you will. So not a bad one. All right. Also turning 10, we of course got the Imitation Game. Now this is actually based on a true story, and it starred Benedict Cumberbatch and Keira Knightley, both of whom actually got Oscar nominations for their performances here. And it is, of course, stars Benedict Cumberbatch as Alan Turing, uh, who's um who's pretty much a very smart guy here, who was crypted German intelligence messages from the government during World War II. And of course, you had Matthew Good was in this, Charles Dance, Mark Strong. Like November that year was really the month for British for like a small for movies about small British guys. 'Cause that was the same month that the what you call it the Stephen Hawkins film there everything also came out, and now so that was pretty much the month for movies about small British guys. But the Imitation Game was a pretty decent one here. Benedict Cumberbatch was pretty solid. Keira Knightley was good, really showcased on who Alan Turing was, and also not a bad film, to say the least. All right, now film turning 20 is National Treasure. Now, National Treasure is, of course, the Disney film starring Nicolas Cage, and it's where Benjamin Franklin Gates, an historian, along with computer expert Raleigh Poole and archivist Abigail Chase, search for a mission lost of free Mason treasure, in which a map is hidden on the back of a Declaration of Independence. And of course, this was a really decent follow up, well, not follow up, a really decent film. And of course, we will get a sequel, 2 years after. Now there's still talks about a third National Treasure with Nicolas Cage coming back. Who knows if that's still ever gonna happen? But National Treasure was a really decent one worth giving a go. Of course, you also have Harvey Keitel, Sean Bean, Justin Bartha, Diane Kruger, John Voight. It's definitely a really fun, entertaining one worth giving a go. Nicolas Cage again was pretty solid. So if you guys haven't seen the first National Treasure, definitely give that one a go. Also turning 20 is the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Now of course this was the first SpongeBob film, like the actual film to get released. And of course, we will get a couple of other ones, and there's a new SpongeBob film set for release next December. And of course, the one of the most iconic moments is of course the David Hasselhoff scene where SpongeBob and Patrick are riding on David Hasselhoff, which that was a pretty fun cameo there. And if you guys don't know much about the film, it's where Plankton enacts a plan to discredit his business nemesis, Mr. Krabs, steal the Krabby Patty's secret formula, and take over the world by stealing King Neptune's crown and framing Mr. Krabs for the crime. So SpongeBob and Patrick team up to retrieve the crown from Shell City to save Mr. Krabs from Neptune's wrath of their world from Plankton's rule. And I'm not really the world's. I was never really a huge SpongeBob guy, but the SpongeBob movie from 2004 is a pretty fun, entertaining one. Great, and boy, SpongeBob, by the way, this year alone is 25 years old. Just wrap your heads around that. SpongeBob is literally 25. That's insane to believe, but yeah. So that. All right. Now, film celebrating the 30th anniversary is Star Trek Generations. Now, of course, this was pretty much like the first Star Trek, the first Star Trek film featuring like the new generations. Of course, you had the likes of Malcolm McDowell, William Shatner, of course, Patrick Stewart as Captain Picard, and in it, it's where like Captain John Luke Picard, played by Patrick Stewart, of the USS Enterprise, joins forces with Captain James T. Kirk to stop the villain Toten Soran from destroying a planetary system in this attempt to return an extra dimensional realm known as the Nexus. And of course, we've had obviously Star Trek movies before, like Star Trek the Motion Picture, Wrath of Khan, and this was actually really this one. Like seeing like John Luke Picard and Captain Kirk in this together was pretty cool. Still really entertaining. I mean, it was actually the seventh Star Trek film at the time, and of course you had Malcolm McDowell, who was always terrific. A really decent film, to say the least. All right, also turning 30 is Luc Besson's action film Leon the Professional. Of course, it starred Jean Reno and Gary Oldman, as well as a feature debut of Natalie Portman, who and in it, a professional hitman named Leon, played by Jean Reno, reluctantly takes in this 12-year-old named Matilda Lando, played by Portman, after her family is murdered by corrupt Drug Enforcement Administration agent Norman Stansfield, played by Gary Oldman, and her Leon and the girl also form an unusual relationship as she becomes his protege and learns the hitman's trade here. And this is like again, this was actually Natalie Portman's first acting debut, and she was actually I believe 12 years old at the time or something, and she actually did a pretty solid job. Obviously, Natalie Portman would go on to have a really fabulous career, winning her Oscar for Black Swan, Star Wars, etc. And she was really solid in this one. Luc Besson did a great job. Gary Oldman was great. I mean, if you guys never really seen Leon the Professional, definitely give it a go. All right, now also turning 30 is the Swan Princess. Which of course is where like a beautiful princess falls in love with a prince from another land. But an exiled magician who wants her for himself conjures a spell to transform her into a swan. And of course, this is based on the ballet Swan Lake here. Um, and you also have some of the voices that includes like the Sandy Duncan, Jack Palance, John Cleese, Michelle Nicastro. So really, this is supporting players and all. And not like a great film, not really like one of the best anime films there is, but it's actually okay, pretty harmless, charming. The animation is pretty interesting. Like the 90s had some really solid animation, and this one was pretty decent. All right, now film turning 40, we got the Supergirl movie. Now, of course, this is the 1980s one, which I guess you could say was pretty much like a spin-off, if you will, of Christopher Reeve's Superman. Now, this starred Helen Slater, who, of course, obviously did technically appear in The Flash as her Supergirl character, which I thought was still a little odd, but not bad there. Of course, you had like a Faye Dunaway, Peter O'Toole, and it's where like Carl of Argo City poses as Clark Kent's cousin, Linda Lee, to recover a Emma Gadarian from an evil tyrant success. And let's be real, this is not really a good film at all, but it's actually more of a guilty pleasure there. It's like one of those movies that's like so bad it's good. It actually does get pretty entertaining. Of course, Hal Slater, like who she kind of looks pretty good in that Supergirl outfit. Come on, listen, who didn't really adore her in that Supergirl outfit, right? But yeah, I think she was actually okay as Supergirl. I mean, of course, like so it was fun and odd that they never really got Christopher Reeve back for this. Like, would have been cool to have seen a Christopher Reeve and Hal Slater, team up for this, but especially since this was a spin-off of his Superman. But yeah, that never really came to fruition. And of course, the movie was a massive flop, so I guess it made for the best. All right. Also turning 40 is the movie titled Falling in Love, which is a romantic film starring Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep. Commuting to Manhattan on the same train, two married strangers, played by De Niro and Olive Street, meet by accident and have an affair. And this is actually a really nice little film. Of course, De Niro and Street both play off each other very well. You also had Harvey Keitel, Diana Weiss was in this. A really decent romance film that doesn't really get talked about a whole lot, but it's definitely a really decent one worth giving a go. So it really has a little bit of like a. It was pretty much like the before trilogy before Sunrise ever came out, you know. But yeah, not a bad one there. Anyway, let me let you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? To me, the 10-year one is gonna go to Hunger Games Mockingjay-part 1. 20-year, I'm gonna go with National Treasure. The 30-year one is gonna go to The Professional. And the 4-year one, no, actually, I'm probably just gonna go with Falling in Love because Supergirl was not so good. Anyway, drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Simon signing off.